Welcome back to another edition of the Play Call Network's Prem Brulee. I'm your host, Premal Bot, and this episode is sponsored by Mike Trout. Anyway, let's get started on Yeah Fam or Nah. First up, of course, on everybody's mind, is the NCAA Tournament. The bracket was revealed, and it featured 3 ACC schools as number 1 seeds. It's the first time 3 number 1 seeds have come from the same conference since 2009, who had the Big East featured as 3 top seeds out of the 4 regions. And that year, interesting fact, none of those 3 teams, 3 1 seeds, made the Final Four. It was actually another Big East team that did in Villanova. As for the bubble and the bubble watch, important names that got in and didn't get in, the last couple teams in were Belmont, Arizona State, Temple, and St. John's. The first 4 out were UNC Greensboro, Alabama, TCU, and Indiana, who were all not coincidentally given top seeds in the NIT. Beyond those first 4 out, NC State and Clemson are 2 seeds in the NIT, but also did not get in. Did they get it right? Yeah, fam or not? And I am a yeah fam to this bracket as a whole. I thought they got the right 68 teams, and the committee did a great job for the most part. I do have a few things that I will, of course, bring up later. You know I got to keep that spicy energy, so stay tuned for that, and you played yourself. But overall, I'm a yeah fam to this tournament draw, and I'm excited to see how it goes. Staying tournament-themed, seems like this topic comes up every year, and that is the following. Automatic bids into the NCAA tournament should be given to the regular season conference champion instead of the current format, which gives an automatic bid to conference tournament champions. So the logic makes sense. Why reward a team that could potentially just get hot in their conference tournament, while the team who showed their stuff all year has nothing to automatically show for it if they get upset in the conference tournament? With that being said, I'm a nah.
Wow.
Part of what's so fun is that a team that wouldn't have been granted an at-large spot in the NCAA tournament has a chance to get a bid by winning their conference tournament. It gives everyone a chance to make it beyond the regular season. If you get hot at the right time, it doesn't matter what your record was, you can steal a spot in the big dance. And that's so incredibly unique to me. That being said, I already know I'll sound this for you if you're a bubble team. I've been there. Hit it.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
I already know when your team's on the bubble, you want this to be so different. You just want the teams that should get in to get in. And you don't want a potential conference tournament winner that wouldn't have gotten into the tournament stealing a spot from your bubble team. I get it. Just as petty as they come, but overall, I gotta say I like the idea of every team having a chance if they win their conference tournament regardless of record. So you can see a 13-win, sub-500 team make it to the big dance. Alright, moving on to the NFL. Of course, went over the crazy amount of moves in the crazy NFL free agency, but that has not stopped a week later. I wanted to give a little update with the NFL free agency since it is still ongoing. There's still some names yet to be signed. Of course, I already went over not only the signings, but the crazy 2 trades that will always cement this 2019 free agency. The Odell Beckham Jr. trade on the Browns, I still can't believe it. And of course, the Antonio Brown to the Raiders. Since then, a few of the moves to highlight. The Dolphins traded Ryan Tannehill to the Titans. Tannehill signed a pretty nice deal to be Mariota's backup. And then the Dolphins turned around and signed Ryan Fitzpatrick to a 2-year, $11 million deal that could be worth upwards of close to $20 million. It's thought that Fitzpatrick's going to be their starting quarterback in their meantime of what is likely to be rebuilding. More on the Giants later, but important housekeeping to update. Golden Tate formerly of the Detroit Lions and briefly of the Philadelphia Eagles, signed with the New York Giants on a 4-year, $37.5 million deal with 23 of it guaranteed. If you missed it, he recreated Cuba Gooding Jr.'s scene in Jerry Maguire where he asked him to show him the money. That was pretty entertaining. Anyway, more on the Giants in a little bit, but rest assured you know it's about to be spicy. Former Green Bay Packer and brief Washington safety HaHa Clinton-Dix signed a 1-year, $3.5 million deal with the Chicago Bears. Previously, I reported that Teddy Bridgewater was kind of deciding between the Saints and Dolphins. He ultimately signed a 1-year, $7.25 million deal with the Saints to be Drew Brees' backup. It could be worth up to $12.5 million. Mark Barron went from the LA Rams to the Steelers. Andrew Sendejo, formerly of the Vikings, signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles. Everybody's favorite quarterback, Blake Bortles, chose to sign a 1-year deal to back up Jared Goff in LA for the Rams. And Randall Cobb, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, signed a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Dallas Cowboys. But, everyone, I don't mean to brag, but the Cowboys re-signed their fullback. In Tavon Austin. That's right. Earl Thomas who? Landon who? Big moves only, Jerry. I see you. Stop the fucking presses. I see all your big free agent signings and raise you a re-signed fullback. Jerry, you fucking genius, you. How do you do it? Just when I think we haven't made a splash, you go and cannonball this one.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Piece of crap. Anyway, next yeah, fam or nah, Le'Veon Bell should regret sitting out a year with the Steelers. So we all know Le'Veon Bell's story. He was franchise tagged last season, chose to not show up. He just signed a 4-year, $52.5 million deal with the New York Jets with $25 million guaranteed. His previous long-term offer with the Steelers before the franchise tag fiasco was a reported $70 million over 5 years. That proposal included $33 million in the first 2 years and $20.5 million guaranteed in the first year. With the Jets, he will make $14.5 million in the first year, including an $8 million signing bonus. His 2-year payout's $26 million, so $7 less than the Steelers offer. And the 3-year payout is $39.5 million. It's $5.5 million shy of what he would have made with the Steelers. However, his $13.1 million per year average ranks second amongst running backs behind Todd Gurley. So it might be a hot take, but I'm a nod at this one. I might be in the minority here. But if Le'Veon Bell played, especially under that franchise tag last season, yeah, he would have made $14 million, but he would have been so overused. And who knows how it could have impacted him if he would have gotten hurt from his overuse, what have you. Sure, it wasn't ideal for him to only have the Jets and 49ers fighting for him by the end, but he got paid, and that was his main deal. And he's coming off a year off, fresh legs, fresh body. The Jets get a fresh, one of the most dynamic running backs in the game, fully rested and healed. Besides, you know what we're about here. Sound the alarm.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
He's out here sticking to his principles and keeping it petty with his last team for trying to franchise tag him too much. I dig it. Do you, man? Okay, and last but not least, had to cover this one. Mike Trout signed a historic 12-year, $430 million deal with the Los Angeles Angels, the largest deal in pro sports history. His nearly $36 million per season is 30% larger than Bryce Harper's deal. He will reportedly earn $98,000 per day and over $5,000 more per at-bat than the U.S. household median annual earnings. Trout was due to be a free agent in 2020, and this move sure shuts up Bryce Harper for lobbying Trout to join him in Philly. Also worth noting, the dumbass Tony La Russa and the Angels recently complained about Harper tampering.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Yeah, they deserve that alert. But overall, I'm a yeah fan. But that's if Mike, just like Bryce, hits ya boy up. Remember, I got those loans to pay off, you dig? Hook a broski up. Okay, I got a quick likey, no likey, hate it for this week. My likey goes to Isaiah Thomas getting a tribute from the Boston Celtics and a standing ovation from the TD Garden. It was a great moment. Great video montage for him. He finally gets the tribute he deserved for a long time. He had some bad luck. I think one time he was going to show up was a Paul Pierce tribute night, and Paul Pierce was a dick about it. And then he was hurt. Then he got traded. All that stuff. So glad he finally got it. But with that being said, fuck y'all for how you treated him, Boston. Give me that alert.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Do deserve better. My no likey goes to the Bengals for taking so long to cut linebacker Vontaze Burfict. 7 seasons. 7 seasons of being a dirty player, and they just cut him now? Yikes. And my hate it for this week is HBO announcing the episode lengths for the final 6 episodes of Game of Thrones. I won't go through all the times. The shortest time is 54 minutes, which is the premiere, and the longest is episode 3 of the final season at 1 hour 22 minutes. Listen, that's not long enough. I need a full feature-length movie for each of these episodes. I'm not ready for it to end. Hate it. Okay, now it's time for my favorite section, You Played Yourself, where I keep it spicy as promised. First, You Played Yourself is on behalf of the selection committee to Michigan State. I felt it was necessary that they got a formal You Played Yourself instead of the one where they try to act like it didn't happen. So Michigan State, you won your conference. You beat the second best team in your conference 3 times and earned the top number 2 seed. How do you get rewarded? Being placed in the same region as the number 1 overall seed, Duke, while the team you beat 3 times, Michigan, gets to be a 2 seed in what is widely regarded as the easiest region, featuring lowest number 1 seed, Gonzaga. Wow. You played yourself. And while we're at it, I promised I'd get to the little things I did not like about the NCAA Tournament bracket setup. Since I got the teams right, we got to critique something, right? You Played Yourself goes to all the conference tournament winners, beyond just Michigan State. So Jeff Borzello at ESPN pointed out the following. Power Conference champions Villanova, Iowa State, Auburn, and Cincinnati didn't seem to benefit much from their runs in the conference tournament at all. Villanova received a 6 seed, Iowa State same thing, Auburn's a 5 seed, and Cincinnati's a 7 seed. Runners-up, like Florida State and Seton Hall, basically received the same seeds they're going to get when they enter the conference tournament. Florida State wound up with the 4 seed and Seton Hall a 10. And VCU, who's an 8 seed, lost in the quarterfinals of the Atlantic 10 tournament and did not seem to get penalized. Another example, Marquette, who's a 5 seed, lost for their 5th time in 6 games, and they were seeded higher than Villanova, who won the regular season and conference tournament in the same conference. So yeah, we like the field in general, but maybe some of the seedings could have been tweaked a little here. My next You Played Yourself, I can't just be biased on this one because one of my own, and Nick Bosa, is doing the same thing. But You Played Yourself goes to Nick Bosa and other top recruits or top draft prospects like Rashawn Gary, who are now starting this trend to skip their pro day. So Rashawn Gary is a potential top 5 pick, and at Michigan's pro day, he only weighed in and then supported his teammates. No drills, no testing. He chose to stand on his results from the combine because he did so well, didn't want to risk losing it. Listen, these dudes talk all this shit about being the best player in the draft, and then they skip out on stuff. I understand money's on the line, But aren't you confident in the shit you talk enough to solidify the numbers everybody saw at the Combine? I hope these guys get to a team, and then they have a good game and just say, I'm going to stick with that one game's tape. Shut me down for the rest of this week. Keep that same energy, guys. Sound it.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
The one silver lining with these people skipping their pro days is that it gives reps to potential draft prospects that were not invited to the Combine. So from that sense, all the Ohio State players that didn't get invited to Indianapolis and only have their pro day to be in front of pro teams, I dig it. But that's not why these guys did it. And I think I saved the best for last year, and you played yourself. And that you played yourself goes to the New York Giants. Seriously, what the fuck are these guys doing? I mean, I don't mind them being a dumpster fire personally, but I have people I love whose sanity's at stake here too. So I got a notification that they reportedly aren't very interested in Dwayne Haskins. According to ESPN, they are, quote, not doing a lot of work on, end quote, scouting him. How ridiculously dumb do you have to be so up to have your head so far up your ass you think Eli Manning is good still, and the fact that you can just ignore the most important position in all of sports in a potential cannon of an arm in my boy Haskins, Hask, the number 1 NS. You played yourself. And just a little recap here. So this same team, the New York Giants, won't pay a perennial Pro Bowl safety, Landon Collins. They trade away arguably the top wide receiver in the league in Odell Beckham Jr. just 1 year after signing him, and then eat $20 million plus of dead cap. Then they choose to sign a wide receiver in Golden Tate who plays the same fucking position as one of their existing players in Sterling Shepard. They paid Golden Tate astronomical amounts of money, and he plays the same fucking slot as Shepard. And worst of all, they choose to stick by Eli Manning, not even a second thought about it. Here's GM Dave Gettleman on his overall plan. Quote, very honestly, it's not my responsibility to tell you guys what I'm doing. That's not my job. That's not my responsibility. Trust me, we've got a plan. You've got to be patient. Everyone wants the answers now. Over time, you'll see it. End quote.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
I can't say it any better than Michael Scott did. You played yourself, Dave Gettleman and the Giants. Okay, now it's time for Who You Got and What You Feeling. And last week, I went over my predictions for who the number 1 seed in the NCAA Tournament would be. I picked Virginia, Gonzaga, UNC, and Kentucky. I got 3 out of 4. I picked the wrong blue blood school. Did not predict Duke getting in. But at that point, in my defense, Duke had not won the ACC tournament yet. So, there you have it. The result ended up being Duke, Virginia, UNC, and Gonzaga. And my 4th number 1 seed prediction was Kentucky, who ended up as a 2 seed. I went over my winners and losers of NFL free agency. Winners were, of course, anyone fucking spending money, which I cannot relate to.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
And losers who just sit by idly and don't do shit during free agency. My surprise picks for disappointments were Nick Foles to Jacksonville. I don't think that contract's going to be worth it. And the Saints not re-signing Mark Ingram, who wound up on the Baltimore Ravens. Lastly, I picked between who I thought would have the bigger impact, Antonio Brown on the Raiders or Odell Beckham Jr. on the Browns. Never thought I'd have to ask that question, but eventually went with Antonio Brown because I think he's going to have more opportunity for touches. This week, I figured I'd keep it NCAA Tournament heavy with the NCAA Tournament kicking off. Wanted to pick the best matchup in the field of 64. And I picked 2 intriguing ones. The first is in the West region, number 12 Murray State versus number 5 Marquette. It features Ja Morant and Marcus Howard, 2 of the best scorers in the country, facing off against each other. That should be fun to watch. My other matchup was in the East region, the number 7 versus number 10, Louisville, Minnesota. fired Louisville coach Rick Pitino's son, Richard, coaches Minnesota, so you bet your butt Rick Pitino is going to bring the petty and probably help his son out, I would imagine.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
And then my other pick was potential sleeper teams everybody wants to know, since there's always upsets and can't just go chalk all the time. Teams below a number 3 seed that could make a splash. I wanted to give you guys a couple that I like. In the West, number 6 seed Buffalo is one of the top offenses in the country. Keep an eye out for their scoring guard, CJ Massenberg, making a big impact. In the West, number 4 seed Florida State's very hot. They've won 14 of their last 16 games. In the South, number 4 seed Kansas State. If they can have their top scorer, Dean Wade, stay healthy, they definitely have the defense to complement. And lastly, in the South, number 7, Cincinnati. We already discussed how grossly undervalued they were as a conference champion. Their silver lining is that they get to play in nearby Columbus, just 2 hours up the road. So if they can win in their round of 64 game against 10 seed Iowa, they would potentially face number 2 Tennessee in a virtual home game for them. So that's their one silver lining. As for what I'm feeling, I gotta go with Aquaman. I know. I think I already discussed this movie when it first came out. But this is a special shout out to my dude Gus, who played himself by tweeting the following. I'm watching Aquaman in theaters right now. 5 minutes in, and I will say this, it has the potential to be the worst current day movie I've ever seen. Wow. He continued with, sheesh, this had potential and completely bombed. There's no turning back. It's like a car accident. I can't help but keep watching. So with that, I had to give Aquaman a shout out and my dude Gus for playing himself in What You Feelin'. But for real, what I'm feeling is a fan wearing a t-shirt of Tiger Woods' mugshot and Tiger seeing it in a tournament recently and laughing at it. I love that shit. I love that he can find humor in it, and I love the balls on that fan for wearing it to such a proper environment like a golf tournament. And you know how I like to end each episode? My too much sense advice I love giving, but you didn't think you needed. And this week it's about not telling people how to feel. You can't make people feel a certain way. If someone is hurt or offended, it's not our job to simply say they shouldn't have been. Work to accept their feelings and process why they feel that way, and when, how, or if you can help. Otherwise, your other option is to ignore. It's not preferred, but an option not listed is the third one, where you tell them how they should feel. You can explain your intentions and your feelings and help them come to a new feeling, but simply telling them not to feel a certain way is pretty counterproductive and will lead to combative interactions. So with that, wraps up another edition of Prem Brulee, the number 1 podcast in your headphones. Don't ever get it twisted. Don't ever play yourself. As always, please share this episode with a friend. Tell that friend to tell another friend. Check out the other podcasts in the Play Call Network. Leave a review. I'd greatly appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.